Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Patrick Damore Golf Instruction. It's been a while since I've uploaded some tour swing critiques. I've got sidetracked to a certain extent with my career. I've made some changes in it, but in any event, I'm going to get back to doing what I like to do, and that's putting these guys you see on TV making millions of dollars and putting them on the operating table. And this young man right here is the newest member of the 59 Club, and I've been talking to him about him to my friends, not publicly or on YouTube, but I've been telling everybody that I know that this one here, Justin Thomas, is going to be more successful than Jordan Spieth. Now, for the past 2.5 years, I've been eating my words, all my friends, but I still believe this. And I think by age 30, this young man here is going to have more wins, more majors than Jordan Spieth. And that's a big statement. But, you know, I've made a lot of predictions in the past 3 years on YouTube well ahead of time, and they've all come true for the most part. So I'm kind of interested to see where this one leads to. You know, the reason why I say that is this young man has all the tools that Jordan has, but he has one thing that Jordan doesn't have, and that's distance. This young man kills it. His PGA Tour stats, I think his clubhead speed's at 120-ish plus, which is crazy a lot for his size. He's small. He's like 5'11-ish and 160 pounds. He hits up on the ball about +3 degrees. His launch angle's at like 13, and his spin rate's at like 2,000. These are all perfect stat numbers to maximize distance, and that's what he does. And we're going to go over today his swing to a certain extent. Let's get him to the top. And believe it or not, this young man has positions in his golf swing that rob him of clubhead speed, believe it or not. And that's one thing I've noticed the last year and a half by watching him. It's fascinating how far he hits it, and then I see stuff in his swing just on TV, and I'm like, man, he's actually losing clubhead speed. How's he hit it so far? Position at the top, he has an obtuse angle between his left arm and the shaft, which if you want to create distance, you know, that's one thing you want to work on to create more clubhead speed, is to make that angle more acute. But he doesn't. Now, obviously, he's got to downlag this considerably to make up where his clubhead speed is 128 impact, but he really doesn't. He just has a normal amount of lag right there. This angle is not the best. It's face on from this particular angle, but if we are perpendicular to the plane, I think that angle is more like 90 degrees. So I think he goes from about 98 to 90, so he downlags a little bit, but you know, that's not excessive. I mean, if you've seen Sergio Garcia in this position right here, people know his shaft's like this. I mean, it's crazy. But this young man really doesn't, still to this point, when I watch his golf swing, I say, he must not hit very far. But he does, obviously. Now, here's one thing you're going to see. I think Jim McLean calls it the X factor, or whatever the hell he calls it. I'm not sure. Separation. His shoulders are probably pointing over in this area, and his hips are probably pointing down there. That's 83-ish degrees of separation. That's a lot, folks. You talk about spinning and firing the hips. That's it. Maximized. A couple other things you see. His right heel's up off the ground, halfway on the downswing. That is typical of people who are trying to maximize distance. His right heel's off the ground. His left heel is planted. When you see the straight hitters out there, the David Toms, even the straight long hitters like Kenny Perry, for instance, he was always a long hitter, but he was pretty accurate as well. He always had both feet flat on the ground at this point. The guys that try to really amp up their swing and torque out their swing, usually that right foot's off the ground and the heel is anyways, like his is. Now let's get him to impact. Here's where you're going to see something really fascinating. Look where that left foot is, folks. I mean, it's off the ground. It's way off the ground. All right, number one. That means these hips are just really, really taking off. I mean, they're just flying. They're like this way flying. I mean, they're really fast. Number one. Number two, watch left shoulder, left arm, hands, shaft. Completely straightened out right there. There's no chicken wing in the left arm. That's maximizing speed, folks. Plus his right arm's almost maxed right here too. It's almost completely straight. That tells me, along with this left foot, that physically he's not very strong. He's not 6'4". He's not very muscular, but he has a tremendous amount of clubhead speed. But he maximizes what he has, and he does it every swing. And it shows with his distance stats. Plus, you watch him swing. He always swings in balance, like all these guys on TV do. But he is very fast and very, I call it violent. From the top of his swing to this position here, it's like a blur, folks. I mean, obviously it is because I'm skipping frames, but next time you get a chance to watch him on TV, and you will, trust me, you just watch from the time he sets at the top to the time he's down here. It's a blur. I mean, it's a lot of speed. Now, pros and cons. Number one, you can hit the ball a long ways. Obviously, if you're a tour pro doing this and hitting the center of the face. But the cons are you got a pretty good timing to keep the ball on the golf course. And I think that's one thing he says he wanted to address this year was trying to tone down his driver and keep it more in play, or use fairy metals off the tee more often. And he'll learn that as he gets older. But his golf swing is geared for distance. He goes at it pretty violently from the top position to this position. All right. And you watch his golf swing. It's always in balance. All these tour pros that hit very well are like this. The one thing when I made my prediction to my friends a few years ago about him is the reason why this young man has got a lot of potential is he's got more shots in his bag than, I don't want to say Jordan Spieth, because Jordan has a lot of shots when he came out on tour. Rory McIlroy, another one. He didn't have all the shots when he came out on tour. He was just a really good swinger and hit a long ways. But now Rory has developed a little three-quarter hold-off shot with his irons, and you see him use it all the time. This young man has it, and has it since day one. He hits a lot of three-quarter shots, flighted down shots, punch shots, if you will. And that tells me this kid's got a lot of tools, and he's one of the putters out there. So I really think, in the grand scheme of things, this young man is going to be more successful than Jordan Spieth. I think right now, with that last 2 tournament wins, or 3 the last 4 or 5, he's in the top 6 in the world. And the sky's the limit for this young man. Now, I want to show you something, folks. Again, for people who follow what I teach and what I like to see and what I don't like to see is I'm one of these guys that like to see a weight shift in the golf swing. And I'm not a stack and tilt believer, although, there's nothing wrong with the impact positions. They're all these different swing systems, folks. They cosmetically look different, but if you freeze frame and impact, they're all very similar. And when I watch these guys swing like this gentleman right here, again, let's get Justin at address. Let's get him to the top now. I want to show you something here real quick. Here's his head. I'm going to try to figure out where his center of gravity is with his body, and I bet you it's about there. I'm guessing. Maybe I'm off by an inch or 2 either way, but his center of gravity, that driver, is, I'm probably guessing 6-7 inches behind the golf ball. I mean, that's fair to say. He's loaded up this way behind the ball on the backswing to the tune of about 6 or 7 inches. All right. What allows him to do that? Let's look at his feet. He's got a real wide stance, folks. I mean, that's a stance width right there. Let's get him back to address. Much wider than shoulder width apart, as you can see. So this setup position here, and the fact that he shifts his weight away from the target on the backswing, I like to see. This is all stuff I like to see, folks. It's good. He comes this way. All right. Now watch what he does here at the top of the swing for a second. I'll show you something very slight. He's at the top. See him moving towards the target? He probably had a 2-inch move this way to start that forward swing. Now the fact is he's an up hitter with a driver, which I'm not really a proponent of, but these guys hit a mile, they all do. He kind of hangs back on it and hangs back greatly, in my opinion, right here, and hits up on the ball 3 or 4 degrees. And you're going to see, as I call it, the reverse C impact position. When I see something like this, I see people are trying to maximize distance at the expense of accuracy. There's always that gray area, one or the other or both, but he's maximizing distance, and his accuracy pays for it from time to time. I'll be interested to see if he tries to change his impact position as he gets older and further into his career. I understand his dad's a PGA professional, so I don't think he's going to change, quite frankly, anything. Kid's made a lot of money. He's really good, and if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. But I'm interested. A lot of these young kids, they feel like they got to change everything, and it just drives me nuts. But in terms of the The impact position, folks, and where your feet should they be planted on the ground, that left foot in particular, or not. Here's a really good example of no. He makes a lot of money. He shot 59. He's going to win a lot. But in any event, kid to watch, fun to watch, and he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders too. Listen to his interviews. He knows where he's at in life. Folks, if you'd like to see yourself on this operating table, by all means, look me up at my instruction site, www.patrickdamorgolf.com, or drop me an email, patrick@patrickdamorgolf.com. Good luck. Thank you.